guys, it's Fiona here. So glad to be with you. I have actually missed coming on here live and speaking with you, but hey, here we are. I'm again modeling imperfection, um, figuring it out as I go. It's not ideal, but look, I'm here, and there's something far more important than me being here with you. Hello, lovely to see you. So here's the thing, it's September. And it's the most important September in living memory. It is. Here's why. Because you and I have been under, if you like, a cloud of what's not possible. Cloud of what's not possible in the past 18 months. And now we get to wake up from this cloud of what's not possible, and we get to create something better than before. So I'm here today to incite you, to invite you, and to encourage you to commit to creating a breakthrough in your life, in your business, whether you're employed or you're an entrepreneur, but to commit to creating a breakthrough. And I'm going to share with you what I know works and why goal setting is not enough. It's not enough to get you a breakthrough. And I'm going to define what I mean by a breakthrough in a moment. Hey, lovely to see you there. Alan, lovely to see you there. You're always bang on time, Alan. You're better than me. You're here before me. Lovely to see you, Kay, Sean, Sam. Lovely to see you. So what do I mean by a breakthrough? And why is it important to create a breakthrough now? A breakthrough is creating something bigger than you've previously had in your life or your business. Now, why is a breakthrough important? A breakthrough is important because it represents growth. Growth. You and I are here to grow in life. We are. We're here to advance. We're here to make the most of ourselves. We're here to put all of ourselves into life, to live the fullest life possible. Now, can I get a yes on that so we're on the same page? Can I get a yes right there so we're on the same page? Can I get a yes to breakthrough? Can I get a yes to advancement? Can I get a yes to growth? So there's no standing still. There's no growth in standing still. And, there's only decay or growth. There's no such thing as standing still in nature. There's either growth or there's decay. So we get to commit to growth. We get to make a decision on growth. Now, the problem with the past 18 months is that we have been put into something of a holding pattern, right? Like our life has been suspended. I mean, look, if you're fortunate like myself and you have your own business, you can work online, you can work anywhere, you can still serve people, you can still keep your business growing. That is ideal. And truthfully, we have been busier than ever. I know that's not been the case for everyone, but that's a whole other Facebook Live, how to get your business working so that you can keep working in any situation. I mean, that's the ideal. But look, here's the thing, even for myself, even though I've been able to keep my business going and keep busy and all of that good stuff, nonetheless, for the past 18 months, we've been living under a cloud of what's not possible, where we can't go, what we can't do, all of that stuff. So there's no way that that can't affect you. There's no way that can't affect you, because what happens is your sense of what's possible shrinks, your vision for your life contracts, because we're being constantly told, not today, not next week, maybe in a few months, but I don't know, you see? So look, we have to be careful. We have to remind ourselves that we're in the bloody driving seat. Oh, I just swore. But we're in the driving seat of our lives. Really, we have to pinch ourselves. We have to wake up and remind ourselves that we're resourceful, creative people, are always going to find a way. Now, listen, that's enough small talk. Let's get to the subject matter. Your vision, your bigger vision, your breakthrough in your life and business. First of all, why am I saying that goal setting is not enough? Here's why. Going to go a little bit metaphysical today. And by the way, I am going to be here. I commit to being here every day at 10 o'clock every weekday. And Saturday, I'm going to be over on YouTube and do YouTube live on Saturday at 10 o'clock UK time. So this month, I'm dedicating it to you, creating your breakthrough in September in your life and business. Bigger than before, better than before. And this week, our first week, I'm going to keep the focus very much on your vision. Your vision. Because we aren't going anywhere exciting unless you've got a vision, right? Make sense? Can I get a yes to vision? Yes to vision. So every day this week, I'm talking about vision. Now, here's where it starts. It starts with you giving yourself permission. Somebody write permission in the thread. It starts with you giving yourself permission to think bigger without you controlling the conversation. I'm going to explain what I mean. So could somebody in the thread go, number one, permission. So permission is you giving yourself permission to have a quiet conversation, a truthful conversation about what you really want. What would be wonderful? What would be fabulous? What would make you feel more alive? I had a conversation with someone yesterday, a client yesterday, and we were talking about her vision, and she said, oh, I really need to feel more alive. And we talked about a specific vision, and she said that would really make me feel like I was being me. I was being me in the world. That's the next stage for me. So give yourself permission, okay, to have that conversation. Now, first of all, do that by yourself. And secondly, consider doing it with someone very smart who doesn't know you. Now, that's really important. Who doesn't already know you. Because if you have that conversation, if you want to have a conversation about bigger possibilities, bigger version of you, you could be sabotaging yourself if you have it with someone who already knows you. Because they already know you to be this person, okay? So my advice is have the conversation with someone smart who does not have preconceived notions of you. Now, this doesn't mean that it's a crazy conversation and you're going to be in the Olympics next year and all that stuff. No, it's a conversation with somebody who's grounded and visionary. That's the conversation you want to have, but you really want to start with vision in the first instance. Some of you I know have booked in to have one of our September breakthrough strategy sessions. I'll put the link in this thread later if you haven't already got that. But really, that's what you want to do. Start with yourself first. Start with permission. The next part is this. Past. So somebody write in that thread, number 2, past. What do I mean by past? I mean your past. The thing that could stop you after you give yourself permission to have the conversation and start contemplating this bigger future, the thing that could stop you, believe me, is your past. Because it's so easy to look back to the past as a way of looking forward to the future. I know, it's crazy when you think about it, but that's what we tend to do. So forewarned is forearmed. Don't do that. Just because you did stuff in the past does not mean that you are determined to do the same in the future. That doesn't make any sense. You're a smarter person now. You have lived through those experiences. You have hindsight, okay? You're much, much smarter and wiser than you were then. So just be careful of how you could be letting the past, your interpretation of the past, determine your sense of what's possible in the future. Now, my next P, we're going with all the P's today. My next P is present, how you see yourself in the present moment. Again, you want to be conscious and you want to be creative, because the way you are seeing yourself right now in this present moment could limit what you see as possible going forward. So please be very careful with the way you think of yourself, with the way you speak about yourself to yourself. It's like that inner conversation. You know, it'll be something along the lines of, I'm not the sort of person to do that, or I'm the sort of person who does this. So be very careful to look out for the self-imposed restraints and restrictions that you could be placing on yourself. You see, look, I'm talking about those external restrictions and restraints that we've been living under for the past 18 months. I am telling you, the most important, the most powerful restraints are those that you impose on yourself. You might not even be noticing. So that's why I just want to shake you gently to consider those restraints and restrictions that you could be putting on yourself. So could somebody put present? So we've got past as number 2. We have got present as number 3. And then number 4 coming up is possibility. Possibility. This is crucial. And by the way, don't let me forget to point out why goal setting is not the way to go in creating a bigger result, a bigger future. Don't let me forget to do that. It's really important. So possibility, what do I mean by possibility? The only way for you to create something different from what you have now, something bigger, something beyond your current reality, is to allow for the possibility. Possibility. If you don't allow for the possibility of that result, that reality unfolding, happening, coming to pass, then you're going to set yourself up. Well, first of all, then it can never happen. Then it can never happen because you've just dismissed it as a possibility, right? But what will happen is this. You will get more of the same. You'll get more of the same. It's not the end of the world, but it just means that you're going to get more of the same. That is why goal setting, going to get a little bit metaphysical here, that's why goal setting does not work for creating something bigger than you have in your current reality, right? Because, I mean, there's a time and a place for goal setting, but it's not when you want to really create something that's bigger than you currently have, okay? Because if you do that, if you take that rational approach, then you're likely to get more of the same, right? Because I warned you about the metaphysical, it's coming up. Because your point of attraction is limited to what you feel you can create and achieve based on your current reality. Let me give you an example. Is this making sense, guys? By the way, I want to reassure you, I only ever share what I know works. And what I know works is what I've used in my own life, in my own circumstances, and obviously what I use with my clients as well. So here's why I know that it's crucial to have a different approach to creating a breakthrough than goal setting, because I've done it. Because the biggest results that I've achieved, attracted, whatever you want to say, in my life have come from envisioning, having a vision that was really, really beyond what my current reality would suggest, right? So let me give you the biggest example of that. Some years ago, I thought to myself, it's really time for me to have my own home, to get a mortgage, to have my own place. I'd been renting. Now, my son had gone to different schools, didn't enjoy school. We were always moving to try and find the ideal school. So at that point, didn't really seem any point to having my own home. But then I discovered a school in London that was a specialist dyslexic school, and it was perfect for him. Okay. So for the first time, it looked like we were going to actually stay in an area and put some roots down. So I thought to myself, this is the time. But here's the thing. I, at that point, was not a big saver. I did not have £60,000 to go out and put down on a home, on a house, okay? Now, if I had sat down and looked at my current reality, okay, income in, income out, and figured out how or when or in which way I was going to make that 60,000 to get that different result, boy, oh boy, it would have taken me some time, you know? I used to think about having a conversation with my older brother, who's great. He's a very rational person. He would have said, you got to start making some, you got to really start looking at how you spend money. You got to start saving here. It's going to take you this long. I didn't have that conversation. Here's what I did instead. I turned my attention to what I really wanted. So I stopped myself constantly looking at the rental section of the newspaper. In those days, it was a newspaper. It wasn't even online. But I turned my attention away from what I didn't want. I turned my attention away from what I didn't want. And even though I did not have 60,000 in my hand, in my bank to go out and get somewhere, nonetheless, I started to turn my attention to exactly the sort of place that I wanted to live in. I knew what it would look like. I knew the area because I wanted to be near the school where he was going. So that was all very clear. But I still didn't have the 60,000. So what I did was I just got busy with life. But I kept that possibility alive. I didn't tell anybody about it, by the way. And sometimes you need to do that. Sometimes you need to do that. You just need to keep it to yourself, okay? So in my mind, I still had that possibility open that somehow, in some way. So I just kept working away. And, it was just after Be Your Own Life Coach, my first book came out. So I was getting a lot of opportunities, a lot of invitations. And I said yes to all those opportunities and all those invitations. And one day, about 3 months after I set my intention, I got a phone call from my assistant. And he said, are you sitting down? I said, no, but tell me anyway. And he said, remember you did that work for that company? You wrote those programs, that stuff for them. And they said, you'd get a share of everything they sold. I said, yeah, I'd completely forgotten about it. He said, well, they've just called, told me to put an invoice in. I said, okay, well, good. That invoice was for £45,000. And he said, he said, I have to put an invoice in next Monday as well. And they said they'll put it in, they'll pay straight away. And I said, okay, well, how much is that for? By the way, I was sitting down at this point. Sounds like, it was just matter of fact. I was sitting down at this point. He said, oh, well, that was for 15. So guys, do the math. Somebody do the math on this thread. 45 and 15. I am telling you, I went straight out that afternoon and started looking for my ideal place to live. And I found it. And it was just fabulous. And I got it at exactly the price I could comfortably afford. So listen, darlings, I'm sharing this with you because that to me demonstrates, and I have other examples as well, but that to me demonstrates the power of what I've just shared with you and the importance of living in possibility. Living in possibility. Now, it didn't mean that I didn't do anything and I sat on my sofa and I just chanted for 3 months. No, I went about my business. I was engaged in life and business and saying yes to all opportunities, but I wasn't obsessing. And truthfully, I didn't change anything at all about how I lived. I didn't, stop going out to eat in the evening, stop going to restaurants. I didn't stop buying handbags, all that stuff, all that stuff. This is a different way to approach attracting something bigger than your current reality would suggest. Now, by the way, I did this before I had heard about Esther Hicks and Abraham and before The Secret was out, because I was very taken with all the metaphysical teachings, the original metaphysical teachings like 1920s, 1930s, Ernest Holmes, As a Man Thinketh. So I was Florence Scovel Shinn, all of that good stuff. So the game of life and how to play it. So I was very taken by all of that early metaphysical teaching. So I was implementing and applying all of that. But when I did discover Abraham and Esther Hicks, I heard her say something that was so important. I want to share that with you now. And she was talking about this exact theme, how to create a result going forward that is different, exponentially different from your current reality, okay? And here's what she said. She said it's to do with your point of attraction. You have to set your point of attraction and then fire off that rocket of desire, okay? So right now, consider your point of attraction. Now, if my point of attraction had been on, creating what I felt my current reality could allow for, I would have got more of the same. Think about it. I didn't have £60,000 sitting around to go and put a deposit on a property. So if I was wanting to create a result from my current reality, what do I end up with? More of the same. Either continuing to rent, which makes it difficult to save money, let's be honest. And it would have taken a very long time based on that current reality. So my point of attraction was not here, it was there. It was there. It was focused on what I really wanted. Focused on what I really wanted. So your takeaway from today, if you'd like to take it, is this. And I'm going to talk more about this tomorrow as well. But if you like your takeaway, your homework I invite you to take on board from today is this. Begin to contemplate that point of attraction, that desired reality that truly would fire you up and leave you feeling really enthusiastic, really excited, okay? Because look, to some extent, we're all living with blinkers on. I include myself in that. To some extent, we're all living with blinkers on. We're living in a paradigm. Another P. Somebody put paradigm in the thread. What a great phrase. What a great concept. Okay, so we're all living in a paradigm of our own making or of our past programming. Past programming. What is a paradigm? A paradigm is the lens through which you see life. It's the perspective that you bring to life. In other words, it's what you see as possible. That's a blinker right there. That's living with blinkers right there. Now, the good news is the minute we see that, we get to choose. We get to expand the lens through which we're looking at life. We get to challenge the perspective. We get to notice perhaps where some of that programming has come from. And we get to expand our sense of what is possible and let go of the restrictions, the self-imposed restrictions. So is this making sense, my darlings? Tell me what you are hearing from this before I go. Um, oh, lovely to see you, Kay. Lovely to see you, Tanya. Paradigm, absolutely. That's your homework from today. Begin to contemplate the paradigm that you are living within. You are living within a paradigm. Begin to contemplate that, and then begin to consider the greater possibility, that you would like to entertain, allow for. Because think about it, if something is not in your field of consciousness, if something doesn't exist in your mind, it's not going to exist in external reality anytime soon. Remember, everything begins with an idea, with a possibility, And think back to that example that I gave you about me more than 20 years ago, allowing for the possibility of £60,000. Because think about it, that's exactly what I needed. I went out and I bought a property for 300,000. That sounds very fancy, doesn't it? I went out and got a mortgage on a property that was 300. I needed a deposit of 60,000. Okay, so I allowed for that possibility. My point of attraction was on the 60,000, up there, way beyond my current reality. Okay, and what someone with, let's say, a limited rational approach to life, maybe a more typical traditional goal setting approach, would have said was unrealistic. Based on what? Based on what? Based on what? Unrealistic. Somebody put the answer in there, and whoever gets the answer right gets a 15-minute laser session with me, one-to-one, on any challenge that you've got, anything you like. So unrealistic, somebody rational, someone logical, someone who only looks at life in that way, in a rational, logical way, would have said that my approach to setting my point of attraction as way up there, way beyond my current reality, there's a word they would have said. They would have said it was what? Come on. They would have said what? Unrealistic. Unrealistic. Now, they might have used other words as well, good Lord, but unrealistic. And they would have been right, to be honest, based on that way of looking at life, okay? Based on that logical, rational way of looking at life, okay? The problem with that logical, rational way of looking at life, it's not terrible, but the problem is that you get more of the same. You get more of the same. And you never allow for the possibility of something different. Now, by the way, you have to do certain things. You have to do certain things to continue to allow for the possibility of something better, different, bigger, right? Remember what I did. I turned my attention. There was no big struggle, by the way, but I did do certain things. So I turned my attention away from what I didn't want. Remember, I was that person. I was always looking in the back of the newspaper. At the time, it was the Ham and High, Hampstead and Highgate Express. On a Friday morning, I would pick up a copy of the Hampstead and Highgate Express. I would go to my favourite cafe. At the time, it was Cafe Mozart. Was it there? Now, let me just think. Yes, it was. In North London. And I would pour through the back pages, the property pages, and I would always look at the rental section, you see? So because I acknowledged I didn't want that, any more of that in my life, in my reality, I stopped myself. Did you notice I almost whistled? That's peculiar. You could never do that, actually, consciously. It just happened. So I stopped myself from focusing, putting my attention on what I did not want. So somebody write that down, please. Stop No. Focus on what you want. Turn your attention to what you want. Somebody stick that in the thread. So we've got that recorded. So that's what I did, okay? And however uncomfortable and strange it felt, I forced myself to turn those pages to get to the for sale, to get to the properties for sale, right? Focused my mind on what I wanted. I let go of the how. Somebody write that in the thread. Let go of the how. Because think about it. If I'd fixated at that point on the detail, on the how I'm going to get that 60,000, that would have been tough. That would have been tough. It wouldn't have been impossible, but it just would have been another way, another way of creating something. And I'm going to be honest with you, I just don't know how I could have done that in a couple of months. Just don't know how I could have done it in a couple of months. Either way, do you know what? I just got busy doing all the stuff that was coming my way, making full use of all the opportunities and invitations that were coming my way. So I let go of the how, because when it's a really big shift in your reality, a big result that's so different from what you've got now, and you want to expand the way that this can come about in your life. It's a metaphysical approach. That's the long and the short of it. It's a metaphysical approach. You have at that point to let go of the how, and what you do is you live in possibility instead. You live in possibility instead. You keep your mind open to the possibility, even though you don't know the how. Now, here's the other exciting thing that, again, I only learned way after the event. Oh my God, what am I doing with my hair? Thank God my hairdresser's coming in a couple of minutes. Here's the other exciting thing that I did in hindsight, and I only really learned that way after the event. You become a vibrational match to that which you desire, a vibrational match. That sounds a little bit fancy. Here's what it means. It means that you stay positive. It means that you stay open to the possibility. It means that your energy, now we all know about energy, everything's energy. Your thoughts, your feelings make up your energy. Turn your attention and turn your energy into how you would feel when you have that result, that desired result. Making sense, guys? I'm going way over. This is probably for another day, but I just wanted to throw all this in here. Get you focused, get you fired up, get you started, get you thinking, get you contemplating possibilities, possibilities. I'll be here tomorrow, same time. I'll be on time tomorrow at 10 o'clock. Good. Thank you, Tanya. Let go of the how. Absolutely. Absolutely. What's your key takeaway from this? What are you hearing? Put it in the thread. I'd love to see it. And also, you know what I really love to hear? What else would you love to hear from me? What are you struggling with in terms of this creating a breakthrough? Do you agree with me that this September is the most important September ever? We've got to get our lives back on track. We've got to get back in the driving seat. We've got to remember that we're in charge, okay? Tell me what your takeaway is. I'd love to see that, love to hear that. Tell me what you'd love to hear more about, or what you're struggling with yourself in terms of creating this breakthrough. But I will be here every day. Lovely to see you, Catherine. Don't limit yourself. Absolutely. Absolutely. And you know what I also really think? It's just a little bit of a takeaway for you all now. I mean, by all means, share, you know. Yes, of course, I'd love you to share and bring your friends here so they can join in. But you may want to consider, either not sharing or being very careful who you share this vision with, that you're taking on board for your life. Because the fact is, most people don't think in this way. They just don't think in this way. They think in that very logical, rational way. And what you don't want is somebody coming along and going, well, that's just plain silly. Based on your current reality, that's unrealistic. You're setting yourself up for disappointment. I wouldn't if I was you. Do you see what I mean? You really don't want to hear all that stuff. You just don't, right? Okay. Tanya, lovely. Set a new focus point. New focus point. Beautiful. Ah, yeah, I love that. Reset your focus. Tanya's saying that's great. Without having your past restrict the possibilities. 100%. 100%. And if we're not careful, that's what we do. When we look at our future, we then quickly look at our past and go, well, yeah. And that sets us up for disappointment. And it absolutely sets us up for more of the same. More of the same. So Tanya's saying, talk it through with a smart person who doesn't have preconceived notions about you and about what's possible for you. So I am going to put the link to, I joined forces with a charity that I adore called Main Chance Sanctuary. It's a rescue home for abandoned horses. So I've got my team together and they are all going to do, I'll do a couple, but they're all going to do these September breakthrough sessions. And essentially they will figure out with you, they're smart people. They don't have preconceived notion of you. They're visionary people and they're grounded people as well. So what I've asked them all to do is to give up their time and do a September breakthrough strategy session with y'all. I mean, we could obviously only do a limited number. There's only so many of us. But in that session, they'll get you clear on that vision, get you clear on letting go of those preconceived notions of why it's not possible, and get you focused on what the next 6 months, for example, could look like. So I will put the link to that. I mean, it's for nothing. It's like £97, and every penny of that goes directly to the charity. So I will put the link in here to that as soon as I finish. All right, you lovely people. Really great to connect with you. I mean that. And I'll be looking at the thread after this. Put any questions in there, what you'd love me to cover in September. I'm going to be here every day at 10 o'clock. Put any thoughts, ideas in there. Otherwise, I'll see you tomorrow. Same time, same place. All right, my darlings, have an amazing day. And remember, live in possibility. Live in possibility. All right? All right, my darlings, have an amazing day. Lots of love. Bye.